Every Monday at 9 a.m., I sent my parents $700 without fail. It was my quiet way of keeping peace, of pretending we were still a family. But last week, they skipped my daughter's birthday. No call, no card, nothing. When I finally asked why, my father's voice came cold and steady. Your child means nothing to us. For a second, I couldn't breathe. I didn't argue. I didn't cry. I just opened my phone, trembling, and started cutting them off, payment after payment. 40 minutes later, my phone buzzed again. And that message changed everything. For 8 straight months, my Mondays began the same way. Coffee, scrubs, tired eyes, and a $700 transfer to my parents at exactly 9 a.m. It wasn't love. It was habit. Maybe guilt. Maybe hope that if I kept giving, they'd finally see me, not as a mistake, not as the daughter who disappointed them, but as family again. After my night shifts, I'd sit at the kitchen table with my laptop open, Leah's drawings taped to the wall beside the bills. I'd type in the same numbers every week, then stare at the confirmation message blinking on screen like a pulse. I couldn't stop. Payment sent. My mother never thanked me. My father never mentioned it. But when their car broke down, I paid the mechanic. When their power bill was overdue, I covered it before they even asked. It wasn't generosity. It was survival. Keeping them calm meant keeping the peace. Leah didn't understand, of course. She thought her grandparents lived far away, not just 30 minutes across town. Can they come to my dance recital? She'd ask, spinning in the living room with her glittery skirt. I'd smile, swallow the truth, and say, maybe next time, sweetheart. She'd nod, believing me. Kids always believe. I used to believe, too. Believe that parents eventually soften, that pride fades, that love finds its way back through the cracks. I even imagined them sitting at my kitchen table again, holding Leah's little hands, telling her stories about when I was her age. But every call with my mother reminded me how far gone we were. She spoke to me like I was an employee, not a daughter. Her voice always clipped, precise. Don't forget to add the groceries this week. Your father's cholesterol pills are running out. Some nights I'd hear Leah talking to her dolls, giving them names, grandma, grandpa, mommy, making them hug, laugh, share cookies. Watching her made my chest ache. She was building the family she wished she had. So when her birthday came around, I went all out. Streamers, balloons, lemonade, and mason jars. Even a cheap, bouncy castle I found secondhand. She twirled in her pink dress, hair braided like Elsa, cheeks flushed with excitement. Do you think they'll come this time, Mommy? She asked, peering through the fence as guests arrived. I hesitated, forcing a smile. Maybe, baby, let's wait a little longer. But deep down, I already knew. By 3 o'clock, the candles had melted into soft pink puddles, and the lemonade was warm. The yard still smelled like sugar and sunscreen, but the laughter was fading. Leah kept glancing toward the front gate, her fingers sticky from frosting, the hem of her dress catching sunlight. Every few minutes, she'd ask the same question, softer each time. Mommy, do you think Nana and Grandpa are almost here? I smiled the way mothers do when they're breaking inside. Maybe, sweetheart, maybe traffic's bad. But there was no traffic, no call, no excuse, just silence. I kept the party going even when the last guest left. Leah sat on the porch steps with a cupcake in her hand, her sparkly shoes dangling. She stared at the road like faith itself might drive up and park. When the sun dipped low, she whispered, maybe they forgot. I knelt beside her, brushing hair from her face. Maybe, I said, pretending not to feel my throat tighten. But we still had fun, didn't we? She nodded, tired now, her lashes heavy with sleep. That night, after tucking her in, I sat on the couch scrolling through photos, her smiling with friends, balloons bobbing in the background. Every picture felt like proof that I'd tried. Then I saw it. Mom's text sent that morning, "Tell Leah happy birthday from us." That was it. No call, no visit, not even a period at the end of the sentence. I stared at the screen for a long time. Then I called. I don't even know why. Maybe I wanted an explanation. Maybe a lie that sounded like love. Dad answered. His voice was sharp, annoyed, like I'd interrupted something. "What is it, Ilara? Why didn't you come today?" I asked. A pause, a sigh heavy with contempt. "We didn't feel like it." "Dad," I said quietly. "Leah was waiting for you. She made a card." Another pause, then the sentence that split my world clean in half. "Your child means nothing to us." For a moment, all I heard was the low hum of the refrigerator and the blood pounding in my ears. My body went cold before my mind caught up. "What did you just say?" He didn't repeat it. He just hung up. I sat there with the phone still pressed to my ear, staring at the blank wall across the room. Not crying, not shouting, just frozen. Leah's drawings fluttered on the fridge behind me. Little crayon hearts and stick figures, smiling in a world that didn't exist. My hands started to shake. I turned the phone over, set it on the counter, and whispered to no one, "Okay." The quiet felt heavier than grief. I walked to Leah's room. She was asleep, her hair tangled, her cheeks still pink from the day. I knelt beside her and kissed her forehead. "You're everything," I whispered, "even if they can't see it." Back in the kitchen, I looked at the clock. 9:07 p.m. The same time I usually check the week's payments. The habit was automatic, my thumb hovering over the app before I stopped myself. Not this time. I poured the leftover lemonade down the sink, wiped the counter clean, and stood there in the stillness, knowing that after tonight, something in me was about to change forever. I didn't sleep that night. I just sat at the kitchen table, watching the clock tick past midnight, replaying his words over and over. "Your child means nothing to us." They didn't echo. They carved. Every syllable felt like a cut I couldn't stop touching. The phone was still on the counter where I'd left it. My reflection shimmered faintly on the dark screen. Hair messy, eyes swollen, a version of myself I barely recognized. I reached for it, not to call them, but to end something. For years, I had kept the peace by paying for it. Every Monday at 9 a.m., I turned guilt into currency. Now, I was done buying forgiveness that never existed. I opened my banking app. My hands trembled as I scrolled through the recurring payments. Rent, groceries, utilities, insurance. Each one had my name beside theirs. I stared at the list, then started deleting one by one, like cutting puppet strings. Click, cancel, confirm. With each tap, my heartbeat steadied. The trembling eased. By the time I reached the last line, automatic transfer $700 every Monday, I felt strangely calm. I deleted it, too. And just like that, 8 months of habit vanished. For a long moment, the room was silent. The fridge hummed, the pipes groaned, the night pressed close against the windows. Then my phone buzzed. A text from Mom. "Can you order us dinner? Nothing fancy, just Chinese or something. We don't have food in the house." I stared at it. 40 minutes. That's how long it took for them to notice. 40 minutes after erasing my daughter with a sentence, they wanted takeout. My thumb hovered above the screen. I could have typed something, anything. A warning, a goodbye. But I didn't. I locked the phone and slid it face down. Instead, I walked to Leah's room. She was curled up, breathing softly, her small hand clutching the stuffed rabbit she named Hope. I sat on the edge of her bed, brushing a strand of hair from her forehead. Never again, I whispered, not to her, but to myself. That was the moment the guilt died. I realized I didn't owe them anything. Not money, not explanations, not another ounce of peace. My silence was enough. It was louder than any confrontation could ever be. When I finally stood, the air felt lighter, the weight on my chest lifting for the first time in years. I turned off the hallway light and watched the house sink into darkness, a clean, final kind. Some betrayals don't need a fight. They need a funeral. And that night, I buried the version of me that still believed family meant love. The morning after that phone call, sunlight spilled across the kitchen table like nothing had happened. But I couldn't shake his voice. Your child means nothing to us. It echoed beneath every sound, even the hum of the fridge. Leah was still asleep. I made coffee just to have something to hold. The phone rang. Unknown number. For a second, I almost ignored it. Ms. Hayes, this is Mr. Du Bois, your parents' landlord. I just wanted to check in. The rent didn't come through, which is unlike you. Unlike me. The word stung. It's not my responsibility anymore, I said. They'll need to handle it. He hesitated. They told me you managed their payments. I used to. My tone surprised even me. Flat, steady. Not anymore. When I hung up, I felt something shift, like a cord snapping. I wasn't their safety net now, just a person drinking cold coffee in her own house. At 10, my brother Caspian called. Ilara. Mom says you've lost your mind. I laughed softly. Define lost. She said, you're cutting them off. I am. Caspian went quiet for a few beats. Good. I'm done, too. I blinked. What? I've been sending them money, he admitted. Not as much as you. A few hundred a month. Groceries, gas, little things. I thought maybe if we both helped, they'd change. They never told me, I whispered. They never told me about you either, he said. Guess we were paying rent on the same guilt. I sank into a chair, clutching the mug. So, they lied to both of us. Yeah, but this time we stopped. His voice cracked slightly. You did the right thing, Ilara. Before I could answer, another notification lit up my phone, a Facebook tag. A live stream replay titled The Truth About Our Daughter. My stomach turned. Oh, God. Don't watch it, Caspian said quickly. But I already was. The thumbnail showed my mother clutching a tissue like an actress caught mid-monologue, my father sitting beside her, arms crossed. Mom sniffled. We've always supported Ilara through everything, but she's made up lies, telling people we're monsters who refuse to see her child. None of that is true. Dad leaned closer to the camera. She's been forcing money on us for years. She needs help. I didn't blink. I just watched, numb, until the moment came, the part one knew was coming. My father lifted a printed photo of Leah smiling in her pink birthday dress and said the same words again, this time to the world. This child does not exist to us. I froze. Leah's laughter from the park, her small hands clapping at candles, flickered in my head like a film burning out. I closed the video, unable to finish. Within an hour, messages poured in. Are you seeing this? Is that your dad? Comments piled under the video, half sympathy, half judgment. Who says that about a 6-year-old? She probably deserved it. Praying for their hearts. If this is real, it's disgusting. I turned my phone off. The house felt too quiet, like even the air didn't want to move. Later that afternoon, Caspian texted, "Don't post anything. Let them choke on their own words." I obeyed. Silence. I was learning could be louder than rage. By evening, the video had spread through our small town. Their church friends shared it with prayer hands emojis. Others commented, "What kind of grandparents say that?" The tide was turning without me lifting a finger. The next morning, Mr. Du Bois texted again. They've been told to vacate in 30 days. I'm sorry it came to this. I didn't reply. I didn't need to. Justice for once was efficient. 2 days later, my cousin Astrid called, voice shaking with anger. There. At the family reunion. Can you believe it? I frowned. They weren't invited. They showed up anyway, trying to get sympathy. Alara, I'm done pretending, she said. You might want to check Facebook later. Then she hung up. An hour later, I did. The video was already climbing in shares, grainy handheld footage from someone's phone. A sunny backyard, picnic tables, plastic cups. My parents stood near the center, my mom speaking to a circle of relatives, pleading, no matter what Alara told you, we said we love her. And that poor child. She's confused. Astrid's voice cut in, sharp and clear. Before or after you said her kid doesn't exist? The camera turned toward her. She was holding up her phone, volume blasting. From the tiny speaker came my father's voice, unmistakable. Your child means nothing to us. Gasps, a collective inhale. My mother froze mid-sentence. My father's face drained of color. The whole yard fell silent except for a lawnmower humming somewhere in the distance. Then Uncle James stood up slowly, his voice calm but firm. If that's how you treat your granddaughter, you don't belong here. No one argued. No one comforted them. They left without a word, faces pale, eyes down. The camera panned back to Astrid. Someone muttered, good for her. Another voice said, about time. I watched the clip 3 times, then set the phone down and laughed, a quiet, shaking laugh that came from deep inside my chest. Not cruel, just released. Caspian called that evening. You saw it. I did. They humiliated themselves, he said. Finally, they did, I said softly. And I didn't have to do a thing. Sometimes the truth handles itself, he murmured. That night, I sat by Leah's bed while she slept, her hand wrapped around her stuffed bunny. For the first time in months, my chest didn't ache. I listened to the faint sound of rain tapping against the window and thought of every Monday morning I'd wasted paying for love that never existed. I opened my laptop, not to send, but to check the confirmation history. 8 months of payments, line after line of completed. I scrolled to the end and whispered, not anymore. The next morning, the headlines in our small town Facebook group were brutal. Church couple exposed for disowning grandchild. Someone had clipped both videos together, the live stream and the reunion scene. The comments were merciless. Hypocrisy at its finest. You can't erase your own blood. That poor little girl. By noon, their church deleted their photos from the website. The landlord changed the locks. Their supporters went quiet. I didn't post anything. I didn't celebrate. I simply took Leah to the park again. She drew stars on the sidewalk and said, "Mommy, this one's for Uncle Caspian." The air smelled like rain and chalk dust. She laughed and the sound was so pure it hurt. When we got home, I found an envelope in the mailbox, cream paper, my name written neatly across the front. Inside, a short note in Aunt Clara's handwriting, "They chose pride over love. You chose your child. That's what family is supposed to look like." I folded it and slipped it into a drawer. Some victories don't need applause. That night, as I tucked Leah into bed, she yawned. "Mommy, can Nana and Grandpa come next year?" I hesitated. "No, baby. They won't be coming anymore." She nodded, thoughtful. "That's okay. We can invite Uncle Caspian instead." I smiled, brushing hair from her cheek. "Yeah, sweetheart. That sounds perfect." When I turned off the light, the room was quiet. But this time, it wasn't empty. It was peaceful, earned. The following week, everything felt quieter, like the world had finally exhaled. The endless pings, the messages, the noise, it all faded into a dull hum. My parents had vanished from social media, their profiles wiped clean. Their church released a short statement about family healing, but everyone knew what it meant. I didn't feel victorious. I felt free. The kind of freedom that doesn't rush, that just sits beside you in the morning sunlight and lets you breathe. Leah was humming at the breakfast table, spreading jelly on toast, oblivious to the storm that had finally passed. Caspian stopped by that weekend with groceries and a grin that reached his eyes. "You look lighter," he said. "Maybe I am," I replied. We drove to Aunt Clara's for Sunday lunch. Lemon pie cooling on the counter, sunlight pouring through lace curtains. She hugged Leah first, then me. "Peace looks good on you, Ilara," she said. Over lunch, she talked about boundaries, about how love without respect isn't love at all. I listened. Really listened. And for the first time, I believed it. Later, while Leah colored at the table, Aunt Clara slipped an envelope into my hand. "For when you forget why you stopped." Inside was a single line, "Kindness with boundaries is strength." That night, I watched Leah sleep and realized the silence in our home no longer felt like punishment. It felt like protection. I stood by Leah's door, watching her chest rise and fall beneath the soft glow of her nightlight. For the first time in years, I didn't dread tomorrow. I didn't owe anyone peace but us. My parents had chosen pride. I chose freedom. And that choice, quiet, steady, final, was the loudest revenge I could ever give. If you've ever had to walk away to protect your peace, you're not alone.